Alright, how's it going? Okay, so here I'm working on some master lock padlocks. They are rekeyable and they're in a KW1 keyway. So, the customer wants this on a master key system, and it was previously on a master key system. And don't have any keys to these. I've been picking them all and removing the master pins. Not too big of a deal, you know. It's just a little bit of a process, really. But and we all, if you're a locksmith, you know and understand this. But what I find really interesting is as I'm going through and keying this up and removing these pins, I'm finding a variety of different pins in here. What I mean by a variety is I'm finding 003 and 005 pins in here. And then I'm also finding little itty bitty shim pins. What I mean by shim pins is, I'm talking like 20 thousandths, 0.020 pins in here and stuff. Really, really small, tiny pins that should not be being used in a quickset system. The smallest pin that you should be using is a 045. But I'm running across tons and tons of little itty bitty tiny pins that somebody's using as shims. I mean, that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be being used. So, and then, the difference between a 005 and a 003, if you don't know, number one, one's done in 3 thousandths, the other one's done in 500 thousandths, or 300 thousandths to 500 thousandths, and the 300 thousandths is more accurate. But the 005 pins have a rounded top and bottom. So this allows for easier picking, whereas when you use a 003 pin, it has a flat top. It's not rounded. Now the bottom is rounded, and that's what glides across the key, which that's fine and acceptable. But you need the top to be flat for security reasons. So anyways, I'm going through this master key system, and I pinned up my first 2 cylinders, and I'm trying to figure out why they're not working easily. And then finally I run across this. So it's hard to see and it's hard to tell, but it's kind of like there's still burrs on the edges of these chambers. And it's catching the pins, especially master pins, and it's not allowing them to move up and down smoothly or freely. And I didn't know that this was a controversial thing, but I've been running across this just within the last 5 years or so, and I've been locksmithing for over 15 years now, where I'm running across more and more of these burrs. This is sharp, across the edge there. It's like a knife blade. The only thing I have found is actually what's called a professional. It's a deburring tool. All you do, you just go there, bam, 1 cylinder's done. Bam, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm only keying up 5 cylinders, but if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do the 6th one too. Now, you see, I didn't round down or take down these cylinders much at all. All I did was deburr the edges here. And now when you run your finger across them, they're not sharp. They're not cutting you like a knife blade. And you're not pushing very, very hard on this at all when you do this. You're just taking the edge off. There we go. I'm happy with this. And then I found that after I do this, the locks work really, really, really smoothly. And that's all I'm doing to every single lock. There's the master key. The shackle's open, but I'm just showing you how easily this guy works once you get it in there. So, I don't know, I didn't know it was such a controversial thing to use a deburring tool on a lock that actually requires it. So, anyways, that's my story, guys. Yeah, I've got 17 of these locks to do total, and I'm just going through and deburring every single one, and I'm having zero problems after I deburr them. Now I'm not taking, as I showed you, I'm not taking it down or deleting any of the tolerances of the cylinder itself, and I'm not having to modify the pins either or use shim pins because things aren't aligning just right. No, you're just taking the burr off of the edge because somebody didn't do that in the finishing process. I've also had 2 cylinders in here too where the pins were actually stuck in the top of the chamber because there was an actual like steel burr still there and holding the pins up. So, you know, I have a honing tool, which I have purchased, and, you know, you get the pin out of there as best you can, and then you hone the tool to make it smooth once again and get those burrs off of the inside of the chamber, and then suddenly things start to operate. You don't have to replace the lock. And it's all because the finishing process in the factory, they're getting cheaper and cheaper with this stuff. So I don't know. It's my 2 cheap solutions, you know. Now, can this tool be misused? The answer is clearly yes. You can take this and just grind these cylinders down, and you can make these the world's easiest picking lock cylinders. You could actually destroy a lock cylinder if you don't know what you're doing. No, you're using this as it's called, deburring. You're just taking the edge off. You're not rounding the cylinders down. Some locksmiths, they get so frustrated, and I wouldn't even call them a locksmith really, but they'll file the cylinder down and make it flat across there because there's burrs and they don't know what to do. This tool is a much better option if you use it properly. Don't go hog wild on it. You know, at some point you do have to call it quits and just replace the cylinder. So, all right, so that's my message for today. Later.